Yo guys, what is good? Welcome back to the Uncle Sharma channel. Ooh, this is gonna be a good one. This is gonna be a good one. The 2021-22 Serie A prediction video is here. You guys have been asking for it. I've been hyped to make it. I am so gassed for this season, man. The stock of Italian football has been at an all-time high really since the Euro 2020 victory from the Azzurri, and as an Azzurri fan, I've enjoyed it so much, the first trophy since 2006. But the state of the actual Italian league, the Serie A, is not looking too good at the moment. I mean, that picture the Serie A made for the Serie A MVP from last season looks a little bit cursed right now. You know, Lukaku has left, Vlahovic looks like he might leave, you know, Donnarumma has left. So the stock of the Serie A is looking a little bit low at the moment. What was an estate italiana, an Italian summer, looks like it might be an English winter or Parisian autumn. But if we look past all the players that have left, the level of the league is still really good. I think it's going to be one of the most competitive Serie A seasons in a long while, probably even competing with last season's great Serie A season. And this might be the coaches' Serie A season, because yes, lots of important players have left, but lots of important coaches have come in, and the Serie A roster in terms of coaches is looking top notch. It's always fun making these prediction videos, but it's also fun for you guys to take clips and make fun of me later on in the season when I've got it completely wrong. Last year I got the bottom three completely wrong, but I was pretty good with the top half of the table. Let's see how I do this year. But shooting this on the 19th of August, when we all know the transfer market still got a lot of time left, and in Italy the last week of the transfer window is really where all the action happens. I already know that my predictions are not going to be accurate. It's hard to predict a lot of these things. Anyway, without further ado, let's get into my predictions. As usual, I'm going to start from the bottom teams, and I'm going to start on a negative note already, because I know a lot of you guys and me as well, you know, we feel a lot of positive vibes towards this team. The marketing, the kits lineup is definitely the best in the Serie A this year, and might be in best in Europe. And of course, I'm talking about Venezia, the newly promoted team. Beautiful city, beautiful vibes, I've been saying, but on paper, on the pitch, I feel like it won't translate. Those positive vibes will just be just vibes and no tactics or no wins. The guys have come in, they've made a few interesting additions, but young additions in American additions, and also they came through the playoffs, so they weren't already one of the better Serie B teams. And I just see them struggling. There's a little interconnection on their team with Francesco Forte, who used to play for Inter in the youth ranks, and he was their top scorer last year for Venezia. But I really don't see where the goals are going to come in, and I don't really see them keeping out goals. But I hope they prove me wrong, and I hope they stay up, because you know, it'd be nice to see. In 19th position, I'm going for another one of the newly promoted teams. Unfortunately, once again, Empoli is their, you know, the yo-yo team of the Serie A. They always switching between Serie A and Serie B, and I feel like once again, as they did a couple of seasons back with Andreazzoli, they will go back down again. Andreazzoli is an experienced coach, but I just don't see where in the team again where they're gonna really hurt teams. They've signed Patrick Cutrone, who might score some nice goals. They're linked with Pinamonti from Inter as well. They've lost their coach that took him to the Serie A, actually Dionisi, who now is at Sassuolo, so I feel like that is a loss as well. So once again, I hope they prove me wrong, but I feel like Empoli will finish 19th. And now to complete the hat trick of being negative to the newly promoted teams, I'm gonna say that Salernitana, who another great story coming up to the Serie A after a 23-year wait. Once again, I just don't see the investment being made to stay in the Serie A. Yes, today has been announced they've signed Simi. It's been made official, the guy who scored 20-something goals for Crotone last year, and they still got relegated. But in that Crotone team, there was a lot more creativity in the form of Junior Messias, Adam Unas. In this Salernitana team, I really don't see who's going to be providing the assists and the crosses to Simi. I just don't see where the threat is from Salernitana. They were one of the lowest scoring teams from the promoted teams as well. But maybe Simi and co will prove me wrong and put egg on my face. In 17th place, I actually have Spezia, a team that a lot of people are tipping for relegation, and they might be right. losing Vincenzo Italiano, who made them the surprise package of last season. If you remember, I tipped them for relegation last year and they surprised everyone. They surprised me with nice football. But Thiago Motta is a little bit shaky, his record as a manager until now. But I want to give my guy Thiago Motta some faith. You know, he's one of my favorite midfielders of the past couple of decades. You know, at Inter, he's a legend. He's got some interesting ideas. He's going to try to keep a similar style of play from Italiano. Yes, they've also hasn't really made any investments. They've lost Pobega. But I feel like their experience from last year, a couple of standout players like Mbala and Zola, Verde, would just get the job done for them to stay in the league. Now in 16th place, I feel like this is going to be the team that drops off the most in terms of performance compared to last season. And that is Hellas Verona. They might even get relegated, to be honest, because of the Di Francesco tax, basically. I'm surprised the guy got another job in the Serie A after the last couple of calamity jobs at Sampdoria, and then at Cagliari he almost got both of them relegated. Now taking on a team that I felt was already overachieving thanks to Juric. I feel like he was working with a lot of Serie B quality in this team, and I feel like Di Francesco coming in, I don't see him finishing out the season. I don't see this team having many goals in them. I mean, Nikola Kalinic is still their striker. In 15th place, Udinese, who I actually predicted last year to go down, but I just did that out of pure pettiness because I wanted to see them relegated, so they finally sell Rodrigo De Paul. And sadly, he's gone, not to Inter, but to Atletico Madrid. And he was literally carrying these guys for the last 2 or 3 seasons. Main attacking outlet, but he was also defensively solid. He was also scoring goals. You know, he was everything to them. And now without him, they haven't really replaced him. They are absolute terrorists in terms of style of play under Gotti. And they've also lost Juan Musso, who has been one of the best keepers in the Serie A for the last couple of seasons, to Atalanta. But the terrorism will just keep them safe. In 14th place, I'm putting Cagliari. I feel like they won't be in a relegation battle like last year. But Semplici did a good job to keep them up, but I just don't really see in the transfer market they've done nothing. They look like they might be losing Nahita Nandez, or he's on strike at the moment because he wants to go to Inter and they're not letting him. But the likes of João Pedro, Simeone should provide enough goals to keep them safely in the league, and Cragno usually doing his superhero stuff to keep out the goals. Another team that I feel like will drop off is Genoa. Again, like many other teams in this season, they haven't done much in the transfer market, and most key, they've lost Shomorodov, who was kind of one of the surprise packages last year, and Scamacca, both massive goal threats from them, and they haven't replaced them yet. Pandev, the evergreen Pandev, has re-signed for one more season, but how much can the guy do really? And their coach Ballardini usually gets fired and rehired at some point in the season, and I feel like that's probably going to happen as usual. Preziosi with the trigger finger. In 12th position, I've gone for Sampdoria. Another one that I feel like will drop off. Not too much, only 2 positions compared to last season. Claudio Ranieri has left, the Tinkerman, and D'Aversa has come in, the former Parma coach, who will keep the ship steady. He's known to play defensive, counter-attacking football, which probably suits the team. But have they lost some spark off the bench that Keita Balde used to bring on for them last season? They probably have. It's an aging team. You know, Quagliarella's getting, close to his 40s. Candreva's a year older. But they have Damsgaard, who was one of the rising stars from last season and also took the Euro 2020 by storm, and he's probably looking to take that next step in his performances and in his career. Will D'Aversa let him have more freedom compared to Ranieri? I think that will be the key. In 11th position, Bologna, I feel like they will make a slight improvement, but I feel like the Mihailovic project is growing a little bit stale now. Do you know what I mean? I know they've brought in Arnautovic, and he is one of my players to watch, as I said in my previous video. His mercurial talent will add goals, assists, and off the field drama, on the field drama. Musa Barrow, Orsolini are still very good talents, but Arnautovic has never scored more than 12 goals in his career, and defensively as well, they always look a little bit shaky. Now in 10th position is another team that I'm predicting to have a little bit of a drop off, which is Sassuolo. Dionisi, the manager I mentioned earlier, who comes in from Empoli, is bringing a similar style to De Zerbi in terms of keeping the kind of possession play, a 4-2-3-1, a 4-3-3 based, however with a little bit more pragmatism from what I'm reading. And I feel like De Zerbi leaving for Shakhtar is going to be a big loss for them in terms of also convincing players to remain in the project. Locatelli has already left for Juventus, going to be a big loss for them, and there's rumours, rumblings that Berardi now wants to leave. But the remainder of the squad is still a good Serie A quality squad. They have Scamacca coming back from his loan at Genoa where he impressed. Let's not forget Raspadori, one of the breakout players from last season, is probably going to look to step up again this season. And Ciccio Caputo, who had injury problems last season. And most importantly, Jeremy Boga is going to be the key to this season. If he gives them at least one more big important season, one of the best dribblers in the league, I really feel like they could finish again 9th or 8th as they did last season. Now 9th, this is the team that I feel like will improve the most, and that is completely due to the new coach Ivan Juric. But most importantly, this is if they keep Belotti, Il Gallo. There's a lot of grumblings that this is the time that he's going to leave. He's asked to leave, but there's also been a new contract offered to him. There seems like no team is actually seriously interested in him, unfortunately. And if he does stay, the team in general shouldn't have been fighting for relegation last season. It's a decent level team, and I feel like Juric is a talent maximizer, and one of the talents that I think he's going to maximize is Singo, who I singled out as one of the players to watch. The right wing back. Juric will work to solidify the defense, who's got some decent talent in there. Bremer was one of the standout players for them last season, but the goalkeeper position is a big question mark at the moment with Sirigu leaving, even though he was pretty bad last year. But I'm sure they will have to replace him, and if they do replace him well, I feel like they can finish 9th to surprise a lot of people. Now in 8th, this is another team that a lot of people are high on, and it's a team that, you know, I feel like every season I'm kind of predicting them to finish 8th just because of the squad quality, but it never actually translates on the pitch because of the coaching choices that they make, or, you know, just general turmoil at the club. But it looks like this year they might be finally turning the page, and that is Fiorentina finishing 8th in my prediction, because Vincenzo Italiano coming in. Once again, like the Torino prediction, it really hinges on if they manage to keep Dusan Vlahovic, or if he leaves, how do they replace him? I feel like their midfield is ready for Vincenzo Italiano. Is custom made for him. Pulgar, Castrovilli, Amrabat. It's a technical midfield. Saponara, who was on loan at Spezia with Italiano, now is back at Fiorentina, so he'll be happy about that. Nico Gonzalez, the star signing from Stuttgart this season, 80 million euros, should add that extra level of threat that Ribéry maybe wasn't able to add with his advanced age last season. The defense is still a weakness, but Nikola Milenkovic has signed an extension, which is positive, and if they can add one more quality centre back alongside him, I think this team can do really well and push for Europe. Now we're getting to the meaty part of the table, because it really is the return of the Seven Sisters in Italy. Last season we saw there was a massive gap between 7th and 8th, and I feel like this season will be the same again. And it was so difficult to actually pick, because I feel like the point gaps are going to be so small. But in 7th position, I have gone for Lazio. Now, initially, I was impressed and excited about the project with them hiring Maurizio Sarri, you know, one of the best coaches around. Props to Lotito. But I feel like till now, 19th of August, they haven't really backed him in the market. You know, when you bring in a coach like Sarri, you have to give him the team that he wants. I just feel like the Mercato hasn't really moved the needle. And Sarri ball, like we've seen at Chelsea, at Napoli, and at Juventus, it's a way of playing. It's a style that takes time to carburate for the players to learn how to play it. You know, how will Ciro Immobile adapt to the 4-3-3 or playing as a lone striker? We saw with Italy, he does struggle a little bit. Can Sarri find a way to make him comfortable in the system? But I see him scoring a little bit less than usual. The depth is still a problem at Lazio, which has always been. You know, what if Acerbi or Luis Felipe get injured at the back? They've got issues. What if Luis Alberto, Milinkovic-Savic get injured? They got issues. Can Manuel Lazzari adapt to playing at 4 at the back formation? Keeper situation is also still a question mark. Last season, there was no clear number 1 between Pepe Reina and Strakosha, so we'll see who Sarri picks there. If the Mercato finishes like the way it is right now, the relationship between Lotito and Sarri could blow up any time. You know, Sarri is not going to be happy if the transfer market finishes as it is right now, and that's the reason why I've put them one place lower than they were last season in 7th. In 6th place, improving one spot from last season, I'm putting Roma. Jose Mourinho, come on man, showtime Jose, you know what time it is. That's why I put him in the thumbnail for the video. The guy generates views, generates traffic to Serie A. He's not done well in his last few jobs in the Premier League, but I feel like he's more suited to the Serie A. He will solidify the team a little bit more compared to Fonseca. He'll bring enthusiasm, and I feel like he will raise the level of defenders who have always had a lot of potential, especially like Gianluca Mancini, Ibanez, Kumbulla. However, the quality of the squad I feel like is still around that 5th or 6th, 7th spot. So Mourinho can't do miracles. They will be missing Spinazzola for a long time, and even when he comes back, you know, he's got a patchy injury record, and replacing him in that position is a big question mark with Viña, who's just come in from South America. Rui Patricio has come in, which is an instant upgrade on Pau Lopez and Mirante, but I have my doubts on Rui Patricio, who I feel like has been declining a little bit the last few years. And of course, a lot of the season hinges on can Nicolo Zaniolo stay fit finally. The poor guy has been hounded by injuries, but it looks like, you know, he's been getting himself ready. He looks, you know, shredded. He looks big. He looks like he's working in the gym. But is that actually going to work against him? Hopefully, fingers crossed for Roma and Italy, he stays fit. Up front, Tammy Abraham, I'm so interested to see how he performs in the Serie A. I feel like he's going to do well. Shomorodov, I feel like, is very well suited to being a Mourinho striker. So yeah, I feel like Roma will have a better season than last year, and they might even push for 4th place if everything falls into place. Now it gets more and more difficult because it was so hard to pick a team that will finish out of the top 4. And in the end, I had to go for AC Milan. And the main reason is because of Stefano Pioli. I mean, last year he was one of my picks for Coach of the Year, but I just can't seem to, you know, have full confidence in Stefano Pioli to take a project long term and continue taking this team to the next level. They have added Olivier Giroud, which I think is a really smart addition. I wanted Inter to sign Giroud. This guy can still ball out at his age, and in the absence of Ibra, he pretty much guarantees a similar rate of goals. Frank Kessie was really overplayed last season. You know, these guys churned the guy for every minute that he had. Then he went on to play in the Olympics, and now he's starting the season with a small injury, which will mean he misses the first couple of games. And then he will also miss a month out with the AFCON in January, the African Cup of Nations, alongside Ismail Benacer. So they lose the core of the midfield for pretty much a month, which means someone like Tonali will have to step up in that role. And also losing Hakan, their fans, you know, they're kind of downplaying the whole Hakan thing, which, you know, it makes sense because he had a pretty inconsistent time there. But let's not forget, he did have a very good first 6 months last season for Milan, and he was, you know, one of the catalysts for their push for the Scudetto. Will Brahim Diaz be left with the burden of the creativity for the team, or will they sign someone else before the end of the transfer market? My prediction does really hinge on that, because I don't think Brahim Diaz can be the attacking midfielder for the whole season over 38 games. So this is a prediction I'm quite confident I will get wrong, because there's already rumors of Bakayoko coming in. He's probably the ideal player to provide that cover if Frank Kessie and Benacer are missing. In 4th position, Luciano Spalletti. Come on, guys, you know I'm a Spalletti fan. Spalletti is going to do what he does best and get that team is custom made for Luciano Spalletti. 4-2-3-1. We know what he's all about. Spalletti ball. And Victor Osimhen, as many people are predicting, he's going to have his breakout season if he stays injury free. Ossi bomb. However, he also has the AFCON to contend with in January, so he'll be a big miss. However, just as other teams I've mentioned, their transfer market really has not been impressive. They've kind of stagnated. Mario Rui at left back is still a weakness. Maksimovic left as a free transfer. Husay left as a free transfer, and the replacement has been Juan Jesus. Really? I mean, Inter Roma fans will tell you, Napoli fans, that is not a very sturdy backup, but maybe Spalletti can work some sort of magic. But if you're missing Koulibaly, Ramani or Manolas, you're going to be in trouble. The goalkeeping position is still a question mark, similarly to Lazio. There doesn't seem to be a clear number one between Ospina and Meret, but might be the season where Meret finally, you know, clinches that number one spot. And we've seen over the years, Spalletti has a way of raising the level of a lot of players. We saw what he did with Brozovic at Inter. Can he do that with someone like Fabio Ruiz, who's been, you know, a great talent for so long? You know, potentially, in my opinion, the best midfielder in the league as well. Can he finally make him take that step up to the next level? Someone like Lobotka, who's been, you know, a flop until now, can he turn him into a good signing? And there's also the Insigne contract situation brewing in the background with 1 year left. Is he going to be motivated? Can Spalletti get the best out of him, or is it going to be another Totti, Icardi type of situation? And that's the thing with Spalletti, you never know. They could one of those situations could brew. There's also the Aurelio De Laurentiis Spalletti situation, similarly to Sarri, Lotito, what I mentioned earlier. Two combustible characters here, Spalletti, De Laurentiis. Can they get along for the whole season? Will they go the whole season without arguing or causing some sort of havoc that causes the headache to the team, which hinders the team in on the pitch? But I feel like he'll get the job done to get them 4th spot, just ahead of Milan. Now in 3rd place, I'm going for my team, Inter. A lot of Inter fans probably booing me right now, which I probably deserve it. But as with many of the other predictions, it all hinges on what happens until the end of the transfer market. So today, 19th of August, with what Inter have done until now, with Antonio Conte leaving, with Lukaku leaving, with Hakimi leaving, with Inzaghi coming in, I am putting them in 3rd spot. Marotta and Ozil have done a great job to bring in the replacements until now for around 15 million euros. Dzeko, Hakan on a free, and then Dumfries for around 15 million euros. So that is great work by Marotta and Ausilio. But until the end of the transfer market, they've got their work cut out. Bring in a striker that Inzaghi wants, whether it is Joaquin Correa, whether it is Marcus Thuram. Give Inzaghi who he wants. There's still some certainties in the team in terms of the defense. Skriniar, Bastoni, De Vrij, still the best defense in the league, as proven by numbers last season and in my personal opinion on an individual talent basis. However, there's still the question mark of Handanovic, who was a question mark last year, and now a year later he still remains a question mark. Will Inter do well in spite of Handanovic, or will Handanovic provide some good performances? Or will Inzaghi be ready to let Radu step in when needed if Handanovic does drop some clangers? But overall, I have faith in Inzaghi doing a good job. He showed at Lazio what he can do. He almost led Lazio to a good title charge before COVID. And if Beppe and Ausilio and Zhang actually gives the funds for them to bring Inzaghi the striker that he wants, I feel like this Inter team can once again challenge for the Scudetto and put up a respectable defense of the Scudetto. And let's not forget, guys, that patch that Inter will be wearing this season, they still are the Scudetto holders, so put some respect on Inter's name whatever happens this season. In 2nd spot, I'm going for the other black and blue team. I've often been accused of being an Atalanta fan sometimes on Twitter because I'm so high on them. I just rate what they've done over the years in terms of that project, and the way they run that club is so well run, and we've seen that once again this year. Yes, losing Romero to Spurs this year, who was awarded the best defender in the league last year, but replacing him with someone who I'm a big fan of, Demiral. I feel like he will be a good replacement if he can stay fit. They've also upgraded in the goalkeeper position. Golini was always a bit of an up and down keeper. Musso comes in, instant upgrade. I think he was a great signing, and they haven't lost any of their other star players in the form of Muriel or Duvan Zapata for the moment. And there's always been talk of Atalanta possibly challenging if they do start to invest a little bit more, and I feel like this could be the season where Atalanta do put up an actual Scudetto challenge. However, there's also a fear of a potential stagnation under Gasperini. He's been there for a while. If Demiral's injuries pop up again, or his lack of discipline shows up, there's the depth in their defense is not looking that good. Can Gasperini's man management keep that motivation high for some of these players who are still not won a trophy for all the effort that they've, all the good effort that they've put in all these years, but there's nothing to show for it. But my gut feeling is that Atalanta will have another great season. And now, unfortunately, my prediction for Scudetto winners, and it's been pretty obvious. I think pretty much every other person out there is predicting for this to happen, and is Juventus returning to victory. And this is primarily due to the other teams stepping down a notch or not improving, like Inter stepping down a notch. And Juve haven't really done much in the transfer market apart from signing Locatelli, who is going to be a great signing and improves that midfield that has been a weakness for them for a few years. But the main factor for me is the return of Massimiliano Allegri, one of the elite coaches in my opinion. He's going to bring back the pragmatism. He's going to bring back that winning mentality that has been missing the last couple of years. And I still feel like they have the best squad. I felt that last year, and I still feel that now. And it's definitely the case now after Inter's decline. A lot of people criticize me for that. But when you have a player like Paulo Dybala in your squad who didn't have a great season last year due to injuries and form, but under Allegri he had his best season where he scored 22 goals. In pre-season, it looks like Allegri is already putting him at the center of the project. He's the vice captain. If you can get Dybala firing again, which I think he will, if you can get him firing alongside Cristiano, who was the capocannoniere last season, it's a wrap for the Serie A, man. At the back, Bonucci, Chiellini showed, their level at the Euro 2020, and they have De Ligt as well. But the fourth choice centre back at the moment is looking a little bit tricky, with the Rugani still being there. I mean, if Chiellini or Bonucci get injured, which they often do, or De Ligt also gets injured, who's going to step in with Demiral leaving? So that could be a point of weakness for sure. The left back position is also a question mark with Alexandro's form dropping over the last few seasons, and the midfield still is a bit of a question mark even with Locatelli coming in. But I just feel like Allegri, he knows what to do. He's took 2 years out. So in my opinion, as things stand right now, Juventus will win the Scudetto. But as I said, guys, let's wait and see what happens till the end of the transfer window. If Inter complete their team, I feel like the title race will be closer this year. Last year, Inter, by the end of it, ran away with it quite comfortably, actually. I think this year the points gap will be much smaller. And I feel like Atalanta, Inter, Napoli or Milan, they will be able to challenge for the Scudetto till the end. So I feel like it will be one of the closest Scudetto races that we've ever seen. And overall, it will be one of the best Serie A seasons we've watched. As I said, I feel like this is going to be the season for the coaches, and this is where the coaches will be making a difference, and we'll be seeing a lot of great tactical battles on the pitch. So yeah, guys, that was my Serie A prediction for this coming season. I'm so gassed to start watching this crazy dysfunctional league that we love. I'm looking forward to being made fun of from a lot of these predictions. I'm sure you guys are going to clip these and make fun of me, but maybe this time I might be correct. Last year I was spot on about Inter winning it, and I feel like I will be spot on about Juventus winning it, but I hope some other team surprises me and takes the throne. But I want to hear from you guys. Make sure you guys comment down below your predictions. Who do you think is going to get relegated? Was I too harsh on the newly promoted teams? Who's going to win the Serie A and who's going to be your top four? So make sure to comment down below your thoughts. Make sure to leave a thumbs up and subscribe if you're new to the channel. I'll be keeping you up to date, of course, with Inter-related content, but as I've promised many times, I am going to be putting more of a Serie A general focus on my channel too. So even if you're not an Inter fan, make sure to subscribe, and let's see what this Serie A season holds for us. Is it going to be ass or is it going to be fire? Let's go, guys. Forza Serie A, Forza Inter.